What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. Question and answer time with Starline brass. I told you I'd be back with this video. Reloaders, this is your stuff. For us reloaders, this can sometimes be cracked. We're not always able to get the brass that we want. We can always recycle some range brass for common calibers. We can reuse a rifle brass a certain amount of times before it starts to get a little bit funky on us and we have to replace it. Pistol brass isn't so bad. However, when you want nice, brand new, virgin, fresh cases to work with, Starline brass. You can go to Lapua. You can go to other companies. Winchester used to dump a lot of brass out on us, 45 ACP, things like that, 9mm. We don't see that much anymore. But when you want the plethora of reloading brass, it's Starline. Now, hear that? That's beautiful sound. An example would be this one. I hope you can see that. That's 40 Super. Very hard caliber to get your hands on. The only two places that I know of to get brass for 40 Super are Double Tap, sometimes releases some of their brass, and then Starline has their small rifle primer pocketed brass. The Double Tap is large primer, but that's it for 40 Super. Now, 45 Super, same thing. It's very hard to get actual 45 Super brass. There are rifle calibers out there that they make at Starline that'll blow your mind. I've never even heard of half of them. You have to get the chamber it poster, the big poster with all the calibers on it, just to even understand where some of these things lay on the whole land of calibers. But anyway, the big problem has been is that during the reloading crisis, or whatever you want to call this that we've been going through, the whole gun crisis in general, we can't get brass. It all got sucked up. Everybody, of course, realized that we might have a problem finding it, so they had their favorite rifle calibers, their favorite handgun calibers, things like 40 Super, that they just sucked up. 10mm brass was a big one that people bought from Starline all the time because 10mm tends to destroy itself the way we load it a lot of times. It's just inherent with the cartridge. It bulges down at the base a little bit, so you want fresh brass for really hot loads a lot of times. Things like 460, 500 Magnum, that was your go-to to get that kind of brass, brand new. So the problem is it went out of stock everywhere, and on Starline's website, the back order situation really got cut down. They used to almost always have a back order available for a lot of their brass. From what I understood, they would just have to get a certain amount. I think the rumor was 25,000 pieces, and then after 25,000 pieces, they would go ahead and make a run. But that was in good times. That's when they could afford to have a line switching over to whatever they needed. Well, of course, you know, companies now, they need 9mm brass. Here's an example of one of the smaller companies. That's Starline brass, and that comes out of a box of Underwood. So companies and reloaders use Starline brass. Starline has been pushed to the limit, I know, I'm sure, on 223 and 9mm, and I'm sure a couple other ones. So they're not going to not make that brass that everybody needs for that, but that's where a lot of their power is dedicated to. However, from what I understand, they are still making other cartridges. I have seen them. I've seen 10mm. I just bought a bag of 10mm a couple weeks ago. This 40 Super is of relatively new production. I've seen 460 brass, brand new production from the distributor, come out at my local gun shop. It's pricey, but it's there, it's available. So you can get it. It's just very scarce, and people are really wondering about the backorder situation. People have claimed that they've just given up on making certain calibers. Some people say that they're only making 223 and 9mm and that's it. So I reached out. I wanted to know the answers. I know you want to know the answers. I sent an email with 5 questions and I got 5 answers back. So in the typical Turkey's Opinion question and answer format, I'm going to read it straight from the paper, word for word. The way I worded the question and the way they answered the question. So I spoke with Emma. She was very nice. Or typed with Emma. She was very nice typing. So, question number 1, and keep in mind when I asked this question, I'd been going through the website a few times, and all the cartridges I was looking for, I was seeing back order not available. I wasn't seeing any back order status available for anything that I was looking for personally, and I was hearing the same from you. So question number 1 is, are you going to be able to offer back orders anytime soon? Her answer? We are currently accepting back orders for a majority of our calibers. Your best bet is to keep an eye on the website to see when the status of a caliber changes. If something is able to be back ordered, that is going to be your best bet because it saves you a spot in line. We are not able to keep much inventory on the shelf right now, so this will get your foot in the door. Okay, and then I checked back on their site, and yes, I did see some things available for back order when I searched for some of the more common things. Question number 2. Which calibers are you focusing on, other than 9mm and 223, of course? Her answer: we are doing our best on rotating all of our calibers as evenly as possible, but between demand and issues getting material, we are limited in how often we can rotate everything. So that's understandable. It's not easy to change a line around and go through different processes. They might not always use the exact same brass or same methods to draw each piece of brass. So in this kind of weird market, they need to keep things flowing. I can understand that. So question number 3. How are you all doing with supplies to keep up? Are you able to get brass? She replied, we are able to get materials, and we're working 6 days a week on 3 shifts. But there have been times more difficult than others, for sure. So, fair answer. It's probably to be expected. Question 4. How about rare-ish types? And I mentioned 45 Super, 40 Super, 460 Roland, things like that. The answer: as I previously mentioned, we are doing our very best to rotate everything as evenly as possible, but we are not able to make some of the more obsolete calibers nearly as often as some others. We have not discontinued anything at this time, and we will work through those as soon as we can. So that's good news. That is one of the rumors, is that Starline just stopped making certain brass. Well, temporarily that can be the case, but from what this says, rest assured, nothing has actually been discontinued. We will eventually get it. So your crazy blah 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 by blah 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 blah, it will be available soon. Well, relatively soon. Question number 5. Any idea if you can pump out the 762 by 39 brass for us? Because that's a big one. We all know what just happened when it came to import situations. 762 by 39 and 762 by 54R, and 5.45 by 39, I believe, the AK-74 round. Maybe I got that right or wrong. I don't shoot AK-74s. But those kind of rounds, anything that came in, you know, Wolf and Tula, that's all, and Brown Bear, that's all steel cased. We can't do anything with that. It's all a bunch of crap primers anyway, corrosive stuff. If we get the old stuff, the new stuff, we can't reload those primers. We can't use that brass. It's garbage. We can get some of the old Comblock stuff that's actually in brass, but again, a lot of times we're dealing with bad primer pockets that we can't deal with the Burdan primers. So we need 762 by 39 really badly, almost just as bad as we're going to need 223 type of brass, because there is none of it really in this country. There's 223 brass laying all over this country. There's 308 laying all over this country. There's not 762 by 39. Only a couple companies actually put it out, and I rarely have ever bought it because it's usually cost prohibitive. Right now, if you can get your hands on a case of brassed case, regular boxer primed brass, buy it. It's loaded ammunition. It's a good price. If it's 50 cents a round, that sounds like a lot, but at least you'll have the reloaded brass, because I'll tell you right now, to buy the empty brass is about 50 cents a piece. So you might as well buy the loaded round and just save the brass. But unless things really change, we have some stuff coming in from Romania that will alleviate it, and I'm sure other companies, I've heard Palmetto State is going to be making steel case, but we don't know where the prices are going to be. So as far as reloaders, we should really probably consider getting our hands on all the components to make AK ammo with brass, as crazy as that sounds. So the question about AK brass was answered, or 762 by 39. Your best bet for 762 by 39 would be to go ahead and place a back order through the website. This will save you a spot in line for the next time they do come through. Boom. I looked and there is a back order available. So at least at the time of the making of this video, you can go back order 762 by 39 brass. Again, it's not cheap, but you're going to get new virgin brass that you don't have to mess with at all. You can pretty much load and go. Prime, powder, pill, go. So that's good news. And if you look also on a couple of these websites, if you just do a quick search, you will find the last run of Starline brass for 762 by 39. It is available right now at stores for sale. So if you need it, go look for it. It's there. So 5 quick questions, 5 quick answers. I hope that helped you with a little bit. I hope that gave you some information. let everybody know that it's going to be okay with the back order status. We will eventually get our Starline. It's just a matter of when. Now I can say this, the ammo companies are catching up with things. When I go to the local stores, especially the big ones with the buying power, the shelves are pretty much full. If you look online, the shelves are full, or the storefronts, whatever, their inventory is full. So now that all those companies have caught up with most of these calibers, I think we're going to start seeing component manufacturers be able to give us more in the lines of brass and bullets, things like that. I notice all the actual companies that make the reloading processes, the dies and things like that, you can find all the dies, all the shell plates, all the little checkers, all this and that, comparators. You can find all that now, all the powder measures, all that's available now. So I think we're doing good in that department. Hopefully we get the brass straightened out. Hopefully we get the primer straightened out. The powder's back online for the most part. So good news for the reloaders and good news in general for everybody else. I like bringing positive news to the channel because there's so much doom and gloom in the gun industry. We face a lot of challenges. It's good to hear that things are going to get back to normal again in some areas. So I want to know, do you have any questions that you want us to ask any companies? Come up with some good questions. Drop them in the comments or send me an email. I'm not afraid to call a company. I'm not afraid to email somebody. Actually, usually customer service in a lot of these companies, they're pretty straightforward. They'll give you a lot of answers. The bigger the company, the less answers you're going to get, of course. But let me know in the comments. Let me know the company and let me know the question. We'll answer them. Or we'll get them to answer them. As always, thanks for watching. And until next time, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting.